Hello everyone, WDHT cares, and we care about what's going on with the flu because it is alive and well here in Michigan. And Christy Rankin from Beaumont Hospital is here to tell us about what's happening with the flu strain this year and also how to protect ourselves from getting it. And a lot of people are getting really sick, Christy.
Yes, this year been particularly bad with the heaviest strain of the flu. We're seeing a lot of younger people even with the heavier flus, and keeping in mind there are multiple strains of the flu, but kind of the hardest one is really prevalent this year.
Right, and people are getting their flu shots, but there's a huge but there.
Yes.
So that strain is not really in tandem with what's coming out or what people are getting sick with.
So what happens every year, the CDC, based on previous data, tries to make a determination of what they feel are the most likely strains to hit for the next year. That's how they develop the vaccine. So the flu vaccine would cover maybe the top 10 that they think are going to be prevalent, but there's hundreds of strains of the flu. So this year, I think the latest statistic I saw, they're looking at like probably 36% effectiveness, but that's still 36% better chance of not getting any strain of the flu.
So besides getting the flu and washing your hands, is there anything additional that people need to know about to protect themselves? Because I know when they're getting sick, we've lost a few people to the flu as well, and it's not just the elderly. I think it's almost across the board this year.
Yeah, in a few cases. In a lot of those cases, it's either elderly people, very young people, or a lot of people that may have had what we would call a comorbidity, so some other disease process going on that would compromise their immune system in the first place. But the biggest thing with stopping the spread of the flu, besides getting your flu shot, is staying home if you're sick, washing hands. Hand sanitizer goes a long way. We have actually kind of asked people coming into our hospitals not to bring in children under 13, not so much because they spread the flu, but we don't want babies and little kids getting sick just because they came to visit someone. But that would be the biggest thing, is staying home, at the first sign of you've got fever, body aches, things like that.
So some people are taking the Tamiflu at the first. What is your take on that?
So the Tamiflu, and one of our physicians actually kind of just did a piece on that. Tamiflu is only good if you have a confirmed flu. A lot of people are looking at it as something prophylactic, or I'm going to take it to stop getting the flu, and it does not work that way. Tamiflu is not a vaccine. It isn't an antibiotic. The flu is a virus.
Right.
So what Tamiflu can do, assuming you take the Tamiflu in the first 2 days of symptoms, is kind of reduce the effects of the flu, maybe shorten the life of your illness. But it is not something that should be taken.
It's not preventative.
It is not preventative, and all you're doing is exposing yourself to the side effects that any medication would have.
So unless you know you have it.
Correct.
And then it has to be on the onset the first couple of days,
correct.
Right?
Correct.
Okay.
And we do have testing that can confirm the flu positively.
Wonderful. So wash your hands, stay home, don't infect others. I mean, those are, and
yes.
hand sanitizer all the time.
Hand sanitizer.
Another issue that we've been looking at really quick is the hepatitis.
Yes.
What's happening with that?
So we are kind of having an outbreak here in Michigan, and that is tracked by every health department, by the state, when we see the news broadcasts. So hepatitis is also a virus, and this we're speaking specifically about hepatitis A. Hepatitis A is also a virus. It causes inflammation in the liver. Most people can pass through the course of the illness and then, recover fine. Other people, not so much. So there is a hepatitis A vaccine.
How do you contract it?
Hepatitis A is spread through either contact with contaminated food or other types of bodily fluids.
And what's the symptoms?
Symptoms can kind of mimic the flu a little bit, fever, body aches, but it would have the added component of abdominal pain, nausea. Some people, it progresses far enough to give them jaundice, things like that.
And there's a vaccine for that
Yes,
as well.
there is. The hepatitis A vaccine came out in 1995. Since that time, the incidence of hepatitis A have dropped 95% in the U.S. So go get that vaccine. You need 2 doses, 6 months apart, to give you complete immunity. And definitely recommend it for anyone who feels they may have been exposed, or just in general, school-age kids. Most of our direct patient care workers are also receiving the vaccine, as are most hospitals.
Well, definitely 2 things to look out for. Vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate. Wash your hands. Stay home if you're ill, so you don't get sicker and you don't pass it on to someone else. So, Christy, thank you so much for being here. You're no stranger to WDHT Cares, so we always call on you when we're having a situation. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your insight, and thank you all, and be safe out there. Stay healthy.